just extend the moment of thanks and appreciation. First and foremost, someone I know forever, Kathy Katari, not just as a district leader, which I did before, but as a member of the South Shore Republicans. All people here from the South Shore Republicans, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Thank you. And to show you how strong we are, how determined we are as Brooklynites and New Yorkers, there's a word that I always use, and the word, and Liam knows this, is united. And how appropriate that I get to introduce my friend to stand up for a moment of thank you, Billy Zioli of the United Bipartisan Coalition. Billy is not a Democrat. Billy is not a Republican. You know what Billy is? He's a gasoline-powered super engine who wants to make New York a place of safety and high quality of life. And that's what we need. People who are true New Yorkers.
Thank you.
Future Mayor Sliwa, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for my future partner in the New York City Council, Luis Quero. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you.
I'll show you what gorgeous to put that together the bathroom.
What a tough act to follow. I mean, Curtis Lewa, he's great. I just want to start off by thanking Liam McCabe for your tireless efforts in making this happen. I mean, you rock, Liam. Acknowledge Billy Zioli. I think he just walked out. Tom, you know, I know you made this happen too, so thank you for the efforts. I don't know if you know or may not know, but I'm not a career politician. The notes probably give it away. I spent the last 15 years post-Columbia undergrad working as a project manager for large banks, mushing global teams and their leaders to a common goal. While I stand before you as the newly endorsed Republican and Conservative Party candidate for City Council, I actually got my political start here in Dyker Heights, just a couple of blocks away at IS 201 Madeline Brennan. It was the year 2002, and I was in 8th grade, and I was considering running for president of the student body. Back then, the school was still largely white, Italian, and Irish, with a growing population of Latino and Asian students. The incumbent herself was Irish and had won the prior 2 years' worth of elections. How can a political novice like myself ever stand a chance? I fired up a speech, and the next day I delivered it. I delivered 3 fiery speeches to the 6th, 7th, 8th grades, promising to drop the prices of the vending machines, stock the Geo store, and get a wide selection of goodies. I even was going to clean the bathrooms. Every speech I gave, the roar of the audience was louder, and I felt more emboldened, promising more and more. Eventually, by my 3rd speech, I saw a familiar sight from the top of the auditorium. It was Madeline Brennan herself, and boy was she pissed. She marched down that aisle, she grabbed the mic, and she was like, "You can't do any of that!" And I said, and I was just deflated. And I didn't know what to do after that, but I did learn my first rule of politics. You don't write checks you can't cash. You don't make empty promises. For the record, I still won. That moment remains with me today as I take on the Democratic Socialist Alexa Viles, who has promised our community the world, yet transformed it into a literal dumping ground. People in the 38 are fed up. The current councilwoman is encouraging migrant shelters and safe injection sites to be concentrated in our community. We have the 2nd highest concentration of migrant shelters by bed count in the city. She claims to be a democratic socialist, extolling the evils of the rich, yet prior to ascending to office worked for the billionaire Pratt family, funding many of the same nonprofits that support her as candidate. These socialists want to feel good about their Candyland policies, just as long as they're not located in their backyard. My neighborhood is not a dumping ground. Part of my platform entails the equitable distribution of shelters and drug injection sites in neighborhoods such as Tribeca and Soho. Let's see if the socialists think these facilities are so great once they're in their backyard. She's hosted trainings for migrants to teach them how to sue their employers, or pretty much anyone, to get legal status. Just so that everyone knows, having an open court case prevents a migrant from being deported and affords them temporary legal status, allowing them to work. Imagine that, an American elected official teaching foreigners how to weaponize our own legal system against hardworking Americans and small business owners. Disgraceful. It's disgraceful. In my outings as council candidate, I have encountered Guatemalan and Mexican Spanish-speaking store owners complaining to me about Guatemalan and Mexican migrants selling illegally outside of their stores. The other side wants to call you a racist for even raising this issue, but it's not a matter of race. It's about fairness, it's about public safety, it's about the rule of law. Ironically, many of the same migrants she's housing are escaping the failure of socialism in Venezuela. Even the term democratic socialist is an oxymoron, as there has never been a democratic socialist country. They're all totalitarian. She is so much of an ideologue that she voted against funding for NYPD autism training. She hates the NYPD so much that she would put her own constituents with autism at risk, just to prove an ideological point. She is an anti-Semite, having been quoted as thanking Hamas for their bombs and failing to condemn the 2023 Hamas attacks. She rarely attends any of the local community board meetings, and when she does, it's usually through a delegate and usually to the Democratic side of the district. This must stop. The current councilwoman is incompetent, a disgrace to herself and the community, and must be removed. I plan to do so. Outside of pressing to end bail reform and revise our sanctuary policies that protect criminals, I propose a platform that addresses pocketbook issues that pains my constituents. Starting with the lack of affordable housing, I'm proposing that any new commercial to residential conversions prioritize co-op developments that will sell affordable co-ops to low and moderate income families. When people have a sense of ownership of their community, they'll pick up the piece of litter, they'll call the cops on the crack house down the street. Just things are much different. I want to identify and stop funding do-nothing nonprofits that exist just to re-elect Democrats. Yeah. This money will be reinvested into vocational and job training programs that contribute to the community and ensure my constituents are positioned for the economy of tomorrow. We don't need any more influencers or content producers. We need HVAC technicians, we need plumbers, we need electricians. Right. Across our city, small businesses are being clobbered. From rising rents to a city government that taxes and fines them for petty administrative matters to Amazon. No wonder why we have so many vacant storefronts. I want to extend a tax credit to small brick and mortar businesses with 20 employees or less to help them compete, otherwise they won't be here in 10 years. Now that I've given you a taste of the Quero councilwoman, there's also a primary challenger, Ling Yi, who's an agent of Congressman Dan Goldman. I've encountered Ling at community board meetings and I'm thoroughly not impressed. She can't follow instructions. If you want to speak at a community board meeting, you generally sign up on a sheet, they call your name and you speak. Both times she failed to sign up and speak and delayed the meetings arguing with the board chair. Hopefully the election board makes competence in following instructions a prerequisite before the election. She's also being boosted by the infamous cop biter Susan Zhang. For those that don't know Susan, she's a councilwoman from an adjacent district and bit an NYPD deputy inspector. She was being arrested at a protest. I say, show me your friends and I'll show you a good muzzle. Now I don't want you to support me because the other candidates are so terrible. I want you to support me because of the strength of my ideas and my relentless pursuit of my goals. Now with your full support, I know we can win in November. Thank you so much for